Putin on his knees. Visit of North Korean leader Kim Jong Un to Russia. This is what we're going to talk about today, and also we'll talk about some updates from Russia and Ukraine. Today is September 16th, 2023, and on this date we will talk about what we know about. And welcome to my channel. Hi, I'm Elena. My political channel Enough of Propaganda, helping to find facts and truth about, for example, the war in Ukraine, and many other things. So let's dive into it. Since I haven't made videos in a few days, a couple weeks maybe, I was away, so I'm trying to catch up on news what happened in the last while. Let's talk about North Korea. North Korean leader Kim Jong Un is in Russia for the state visit for the 5th day today. He arrived in Primorsky Krai, it's a territory on the far east of Russia, by his bulletproof train, and on September 12th. The next day, he held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the Vostochny Cosmodrome in Amur Region. Cosmodrome is a space center. I want to point out that Putin, president of Russian Federation, who considers himself as a czar of the world, flew all the way from Moscow to the other side of Russia. And Russia is the biggest country in the world, by the way. I have lived in Irkutsk region, and the flights were very long. The flight to Vladivostok would take 8.5 hours. And I used to fly to Irkutsk and a little bit further than that after that, so it's about 6 hours flight. So Putin had to spend that much time to go to the other side of Russia just because North Korean leader, the tyrant of North Korea, so afraid of everything that he can't fly because he's afraid to be assassinated. So this is a visit of two hated dictators in the world, two most isolated, basically, dictators. Putin, war criminal by international court, and Kim Jong Un. They had a summit and lunch. It lasted more than 5 hours. I would recommend to watch several videos on Jake Bro channel about this, and in some other channels you can watch. I used to spend on the train a lot of time. Many Russians traveled by train quite a lot. And when my parents were building a railroad in Siberia, that Baikal-Amur mainline, basically my father has paid vacation once in 2 years. He could take free train ride for free from Irkutsk region to the European part of Russia, which took us, I don't know, a week, 5 days, just to Moscow, and then from Moscow to Volgograd is another day, and so on. So, but North Korean leader has such a specially modified train and car and everything, so afraid of assassination. That's how popular the leaders are. That's how much they're afraid of their own people, that they have to do all of that, go to all of that extent to be able to travel somewhere. And the fact that Putin came all the way on the other side of Russia to meet with Kim Jong Un is saying that Putin is now standing on his knees and begging North Korea and China for help, in India. The similar situation happened when a Chinese leader came to Russia, and now the same thing happening when North Korean leader came. And Putin and Kim Jong Un were expected to discuss the transfer of North Korean weapons to Moscow, so Putin can continue his senseless war in Ukraine in exchange for military technology for North Korea. And Russian army will most likely receive DPRK 152mm shells and caliber shells for howitzer and 122mm for MLRS. And possibly guns themselves, maybe some tanks from Soviet era, which still in North Korea, and perhaps other equipment as well. The fact that Putin came all the way to meet Kim Jong Un, who Putin considered, I don't know, low life, I guess, and now pretending that he's his biggest body and ready to kiss his feet, is saying that Russia is very desperate, running out of ammunitions, as well as we discussed on this channel that this is what's gonna happen, and it happened. Russia is desperate, they can't produce enough, so they have to beg for help. North Korea, of all places. And after the meeting, Putin returned back to Moscow because, again, he can't leave the capital of Russia for a long time, not especially after the coup of Prigozhin, so he's so afraid for his power that he have to run basically back as fast as he can, while his throne is still not occupied by someone else. And meanwhile, the North Korean leader stayed in Russia, and on September 15th, he visited some aviation enterprises for assembling the planes Su-35 and Su-57 fighters in Komsomolsk on Amur, the city. Also, Kim Jong Un was shown Daggers and Calibers missiles, which is that is what Russia is attacking Ukraine with. Russia is still trying to impress Kim Jong Un, and he continues his journey through far east of Russia and getting acquainted with the achievements of Russian defense industry. At this time, meanwhile, while he's traveling, residents of Vladivostok stuck in traffic, and people on electric trains have to stand and wait while he's traveling through. Like these people. They are sitting in the electric train or standing in the traffic jams. When Kim Jong Un arrived with his bulletproof train in the Russian city of named Artyom, neighboring Vladivostok, he was met with the Russian Ministry of Defense Sergei Shoigu and 40 school children, which is absolutely disgusting. I remember all of this from the USSR. The children actually dressed up in Soviet time school uniforms. I was wearing one of those. And that white apron kind of mean it's parade uniform and so on. It's just so disgusting. Russia's return to USSR time is absolutely disgusting. This is exactly what happened in USSR. Now Putin kissing a girl in Derbent, visiting, and she bringing him flowers or something like that. And now these guys drag basically 40 children to the meeting of foreign dictator, bloody dictator. It's so many memories in my opinion. Just in my memories, it's just absolutely horrifying, disgusting. It's like Germany will return now to Nazis, and Hitler Jugend will be reinstalled, and they would be marching on the streets, and those guys in brown shirts gonna doing the same thing. This is exactly the same thing. To me, it's just painful, horrible memory of absolutely disgusting thing. And that's not the end of it. They wanted to rebuild pioneer camps, which was Young Communist League Pioneers. I have a video on my channel about that, youth organizations in the USSR. And the governor of Primorsky territory, promising to discuss with the leader of North Korea to create pioneer camps and basically student exchange, to send Russian children to pioneer camps to North Korea, of all places. Unbelievable. So Kim Jong Un was shown several strategic aircrafts of Russian Federation, Russian airspace forces, fighter jets, and attack aircrafts, and so was Kinjal missiles and so on, hypersonic missile systems. And later, Shoigu and Kim Jong Un visited Pacific Fleet frigate Marshal Shaposhnikov in Vladivostok. It was built in 80s, but supposed to be deeply modernized with modern weapons, equipped with modern weapons. This is what's happening with visit North Korean leader. And the visit was made exactly like it was in USSR. I lived in the USSR and I remember how it happened. And it's so scary to see that that evil state is back. The empire of evil is back. You are welcome to read more about this in different sources, like, for example, this Al Jazeera article. Russia shows North Korea's Kim hypersonic missiles, nuclear-capable bombers, and so on. I like how Jake Bro provided cool comparison. Look at the body language. How Putin and Lukashenko, Belarusian dictator, sitting, and how Putin and Kim Jong Un are sitting. Body language doesn't lie, I agree with Mr. Bro. And want to say a little bit more what Putin recently says. He claims that 300,000 people from Russia signed the contracts with Ministry of Defense. After negotiations with Belarusian dictator Lukashenko, he said that those who signed the contracts were guided by the highest patriotic feelings, not because they're desperate for money or they were forced to, lied to, and so on. No, they were guided by the highest patriotic feelings, and there was no need to send anybody outside of Russia to fight in the war, because actually was speculations that Russians would like to get North Koreans maybe to fight the war in Ukraine. But he is saying that Russia got 300,000 troops. So he killed already whole bunch of Russian troops. First 200,000 he sent in the first place. Then he claimed over 300,000 he mobilized in the first place. And now mobilization will continue. It's just inevitable. It's still going on. It wasn't stopped. So now if Russia will get the weapons from North Korea, they could continue longer and kill more Russian people and Ukrainians. And the same thing was happened when Chinese leader visited. But I want to concentrate a little bit about what's the deal with the islands which China received. Let's forget about North Korea for a minute and talk about China. So Putin, who portrayed himself like a uniting Tsar of Russia, who uniting Russian lands, I told you in some of my previous videos that he basically gave away Russian islands, which actually was a good thing to do because they were supposed to belong to China. But nevertheless, Putin portrayed himself as a uniter of Russian lands. Meanwhile, he is just giving away Russian lands to the right and to the left, as he considered Russian. One of them is Bolshoi Ussuriysky Island. So let's talk about these islands for a little bit. Who Russia give to China. That Bolshoi Ussuriysky Island, Big Ussuri Island, Chinese people called Heisiadzi Dao, or Island of the Black Bear. This is a big river island on the river Amur, below the river Ussuri, about those disputed territories. And there was agreement, and this border was established, and this Bolshoi Ussuriysky Island, or the Black Bear Island in Chinese, it was divided. Part of it belonged to Russia, and part of this island Putin gave to China. And so is Tarabarov Island and few little islands like Korean Island, or Vinogradny Island, which is Grape Island, and Ramashkin Island, which is Daisy Island. On 14th of October 2008, the border was drawn eventually, and those islands were given to China and the part of Black Bear Island. And the recent scandal was that in August 2023, China basically issued state maps, official state maps, which is considered the whole island, Black Bear Island. And they kind of marked it as Chinese territory. And what Russia did? Did Putin scold China? Did Putin complain? No. They bite their tongue and said nothing important about this. Which is, it's so big deal to fight Ukraine for whatever territories, and yet China grabbing piece of island. That's exactly what I told you gonna happen, because when you open the Pandora box, this is what happens. Russia showed loud and clear to the rest of the world that international laws mean nothing, that anybody who is strong can come and grab things, land, or anything from whoever are weaker. So Russia is a weaker partner, Russia is a weak country, and now China just came and grabbed the land. And it will continue, and China will want more. Why? Because when the dictators didn't get getting stopped, when the international laws or laws inside the country are not enforced, everybody can do whatever they want. This is what happened. And since China wasn't stopped, they broke the agreement. Russia and China had an agreement, they broke it. Was they stopped? No. What happened? Well, China will want more. And a little bit more news from Russia. Apparently, disappeared General Surovikin, General Armageddon, showed up on the pictures, and he ended up in Algeria, of all places, in Africa. This is one of the pictures done by Shot, and member of State Duma Defense Committee, General Andrei Kartapolov, commented that on this photo from Algeria. He said that it's too early to draw conclusions about the usefulness or wherever General Surovikin will be able to fulfill his duty and be useful in Africa, basically, for the benefit of his country. Time will tell, as General Gurulov said. Moving on. In Russian city Kazan, which I actually visited in the past, some man in a military uniform detonated a stun grenade in front of children. He actually offered child to pull the pin out of it. And this was filmed by the video camera at the door entrance when you have to punch the code or use the special key to get inside the apartment building. And he has a clear letter Z on his uniform. The woman is swearing and saying, "What are you doing?" And another woman trying to tell the man that it's not a good idea. But he didn't listen. Sorry for the foul language, but this is what's happening. Chairman of the State Duma Committee on Defense Andrei Kartapolov. I quote him that he said, "Mobilized Russians will not return home until the end of the war." He said also no rotation will happen. Earlier he had promised the rotation of Russian troops. And as Jason J. Smart asking question, are you surprised he lied to his soldiers? As for me, I'm not surprised. And I don't think you are either. Two words about economy. The Central Bank of Russian Federation increases key rate by 100 BP to 13%. And couple words about European sanctions to Russia. According to European Commission, since February 2022, the European Union has banned over 43.9 billion euros in exported goods to Russia and 91.2 billion of imported goods. This means that 49% of export and 58% of imports are currently sanctions compared to 2021. The bans are implemented by European Union custom authorities. And I want to add that European Union countries wants to impose sanctions on Russian diamonds by October, November of this year. And here's to the people who are thinking the sanctions doesn't work at all. An Airbus airplane, Ural Airlines actually, was forced to land in Russia due to the hydraulics system collapsing, and Russia is unable to get spare parts. That's why this is happening. I'll link this video, you can watch it if you like. According to Sirena, Telegram channel, the Ministry of Defense of Russia announced that they destroyed 2 UAV over Kaluga and Tver regions in Russia in the night. About 30 flights in Moscow airports Vnukovo, Domodedovo and Sheremetyevo were delayed, and 4 more were cancelled. Telegram channel Shot reported that there is a big fire in St. Petersburg. Shopping center on Bukhareskaya Street burned down last night, and the fire spread over an area about 1,000 square meters. And it sounded like local people reporting that they heard blow up at first, and then fire started. And a lot of forces trying to stop the fire. 10 vehicles and 49 people of Ministry of Emergency Situations trying to stop the fire. At this point in time, I didn't find any information. It sounded like nobody get hurt. While Ukraine achieving success on the front, Putin is bending his knee to China and North Korea. And this is just unbelievable. That's what Putin called that Russia, he kind of lifting up Russia or something like that, making Russia more important. And turned out to be he completely destroying Russia. And I would call him Russia's enemy number one. It's not West, it's not Ukraine, it's Putin, Russia's own president. I really hope that Russians would wake up and remove him from power. And glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Please support Ukraine and give them whatever they need to win. Not to delay that war and drag it longer as Putin wants, because his only hope that the war will drag long enough that the Western countries and democratic countries will tired of the war and will stop helping Ukraine. Which will never happen, but that's what he's hoped for. Let's make it not happen. Not ever. Thank you for your attention and have a great day. Please educate yourself. This is what my channel is for. And write me in the comments what you like about the video, if you have any more information and what you would like to see in my videos. Please let me know. I'm glad to hear from you. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. And see you later.